students, in continuation with our previous class, where we have discussed the various flip-flops, we had discussed your SR flip-flop, we had discussed your D flip-flop, then we discussed about your T flip-flop. So these were the three different flip-flops that we discussed in our previous class. So in today's class we will be discussing the JK flip-flop, and another variation of JK flip-flop is your JK master-slave flip-flop. Okay, so what exactly is JK flip-flop and what is your JK master-slave flip-flop? That is what we are going to discuss in today's session. Okay, so this is how your JK flip-flop looks like. This is the logic symbol of your JK flip-flop, where we have the two inputs J and K, and we have a clock pulse acting as an additional input with the output Q and Q bar. So here we have a slight modification with the inputs coming to the NAND gates. Okay, so here you can see, students, is that okay? So this is basically your SR flip-flop only. Okay, now a slight modification what we have done, instead of S we have the J, and instead of K, R we have the K input coming. Okay, now we have a clock pulse, and then you can see here to this NAND gate, to the first NAND gate here, you could see apart from the clock input and the J input that is coming, we have another input that is coming. What is that? It is the feedback, that is the output of Q bar. That is, the output of Q bar is fed as an input to your J. The output of Q bar is fed as an input to J, and then the output of Q, is fed back as an input to K. So we have totally three inputs coming. To J and K. One is the J input, second one is the clock pulse, and third one is nothing but the input that is coming to J is your Q bar. And in the lower NAND gate, where we have the K input, the clock input, and then the third input that is coming is with respect to the Q. So these are the three inputs that we are going to have when it comes to your JK flip-flop. So basically these flip-flops are being designed in order to overcome the problem that we had with the SR flip-flop, when both the input of S and R were 1 1. Okay, so to avoid the intermediate state, okay, we have designed various flip-flops like the D flip-flop, the T flip-flop, and now we'll see how JK will try to overcome the problem of the SR flip-flop, where we had this intermediate state problem. Okay, where 1 1 was there and we had an illegal state. So let us start. Okay, this is how the logic symbol and the logic circuit of your basic JK flip-flop looks like. Okay, it is built using your SR flip-flop, and the only modification, as I told you, student, is that we have the output Q going as an input to K, and the output Q bar going as an input to J. So basically we have three inputs at the starting point. So let us start the introduction part to your JK flip-flop. So JK flip-flop, student, is the most widely used flip-flop. It is considered to be a universal flip-flop circuit. The sequential operation of JK flip-flop is same as that of your SR flip-flop. Remember, the sequential operation of a JK flip-flop is same as that of your SR flip-flop, with the same set and reset. The only difference that you find with JK flip-flop is that you don't have an invalid input state. That you could find it in your SR flip-flop or your SR latch. Okay, when both S and R are 1 1. Okay, so we have tried to overcome this particular problem in your JK flip-flop, where we had a invalid input state in your SR latch or in your SR flip-flop. Okay, this is one thing. Now, when it comes to who has taken this initiative, so the JK flip-flop name was been kept on the name inventor name known as Jack Klibbe. Okay, Jack Klibbe. So that was the name J and K. Okay, because of that we have the name J and K. So this is how the basic logic symbol of your JK flip-flop look like. We have the J input, we have the K input, then we have the clock pulse, and then we have the two outputs Q and Q bar. Hope so. Till now whatever we have discussed is very much clear to you. Okay, so as I told you that the working of JK flip-flop is exactly the same as your SR flip-flop. Only the change that you could see in JK flip-flop is when both J and K are 1, which is an invalid state or state which is not acceptable in your SR flip-flop when both S and R are 1 1. Now, so the basic NAND gates are used in building your JK flip-flop, as we have used them in your SR flip-flop also. So basically, when you use the SR flip-flop, which suffers from two major problems. The first condition, when S and R are 0 0, it should be avoided. Second thing is when S and R changes its state while the input is enabled high, the correct latching actions does not occur. That is one thing. To overcome these two problems, RS flip-flop, JK flip-flop was designed. So the JK flip-flop is basically a gated RS flip-flop with additional clock input given to the circuitry. When both the inputs S and R are equal to logic 1, when both the inputs of S and R are equal to logic 1, the invalid condition takes place. To prevent this invalid condition, a clock circuit is introduced. The clock flip-flop has 4 possible input combination because of the addition of the clock input. The 4 inputs are logic 1, logic 0, no change, and the toggle. Now what is this toggle? Okay, what is this toggle? We call it as a set, reset, no change, and the toggle. So what exactly is toggle condition? That is what we are going to see in today's class. Okay. So as the SR inputs of the RS bias table have been replaced by the two inputs called as J and K. So earlier we had this S and R, now they have been replaced with J and K respectively. Here J is equal to nothing but S and K is equal to nothing but R. Okay, so the two input AND gates of the SR flip-flop are replaced by now the 3 input NAND gates. Okay, we have the 3 input NAND gates, that is the J, clock, and one of the output that is coming from the output end, that is for J it is Q bar and for K it is Q. Okay, so here what we have, Q and Q bar are connected as an input. Okay, so this cross coupling of the RS flip-flop is used to produce a toggle condition. Okay, as the two inputs are interlocked. How we are going to discuss? Okay, so in this circuit, okay, we have the set condition. Okay, if the circuit is in the set condition, the J input is inhibited with the status 0. okay, of the Q through the lower NAND gate. Similarly, when the K input is inhabited by 0 status of the Q through the upper NAND gate, then we call it as a reset condition. Okay, that is what we have seen here. When J is 1, K is 0, the output Q is going to be 1. When J is 0 and K is 1, it is going to reset the state. We have set and reset, and the final state when J and K are both 1 1, we have the toggle condition. Now we'll focus on this particular condition, that is your toggle condition, because till here the same status remains as what you had discussed with your SR flip-flop. Okay, so our main intention was to focus on the last condition where both J and K are 1 1. Okay, so how this particular circuitry works, that is what we are going to see. So initially assume that this Q I will take it as 0, Q I will take it as 0, and Q bar I will take value as 1. Okay, I am stating once again, Q is equal to 0, Q bar is equal to 1. Okay, now here students, if you see, okay, what is that? I am focusing only on the last condition. So the last condition says that we have clock pulse as 1, the J value as 1. Here clock pulse is high, J input is high. When J and K are both 1 1, when J and K are both 1 1, and when we have a high clock pulse, okay, given as an input. So how the JK flip-flop behaves, that we are going to see. Now see here what I have done. At the output I have initialized Q equal to 0 and Q bar equal to 1. Now what happens? If you see here, when I say Q equal to 1 and Q bar equal to Q equal to 0 and Q bar equal to 1. So what is happening? Q bar is connected as an input, to J. So the upper NAND gate J receives 3 1s. Okay, and the lower NAND gate, receives a 0, because this is connected to Q, so it receives a 0. So what will happen? The upper NAND gate will produce a low, and the lower NAND gate will produce a high. So what is happening when J is 0 and K is 1? Okay, when S bar is 0 and R bar is 1. Okay, when S is 0, R is 1. So what will happen when S is 0, R is 1? Okay, Q will be set. So here Q will be set to 1, and opposite of that Q bar will be set to 0. Okay, so 0 0, here we have 0 coming, okay, as Q bar was 1 0 1. Okay, here what we have 0 1, here we have a 1 coming, and when here we have a 1 1 0. Okay, so here what you can see, we have a 0 and 1, 1 and 0 coming. Now later you could see that now what is the value of Q? Now the value of Q is 1 and Q bar is 0. Value of Q is 1, Q bar is 0. Now what happens? On the upper end of the NAND gate, you have a 0 coming, and in the lower NAND gate we have a 1. So what will happen? The reverse operation takes place. Now here what will happen? On the upper NAND gate we have a high output, and the lower NAND gate we have a low output. Now what happens? S is 1 and R is 0. So what will happen? We have set state. When we have a set state, at that time the Q output is 0 and Q bar output is going to be 1. And once again, if you apply the same, what will happen? You could see here what is happening here? You can see here the output is toggling from 0 to 1, from 0 to 1, and from 1 it is again changing to 0. Similarly here also, from 1 it has changed to 0, and from 0 it has changed to 1. And that's what, when the J and K input are 1 1, when J and K input are 1 1, we call this state as a toggle state. When J and K input are 1 1, we call this state as a toggle state, where Q and Q bar are continuously changing the values from 0 to 1 and from 1 to 0. Okay, this is what is how the JK flip-flop tries to overcome the problem that occurred in your SR flip-flop, which was an illegal state, which was not accepted. Okay, so as I told you, students, the JK flip-flop is similar to your SR flip-flop with the feedback, which enables only one of its input terminal. It eliminates the invalid condition which was arising in the SR flip-flop and put them into a terminal, either to set or reset condition at one time. So when both J and K are at logic 1 at the same time of the clock input is high, the circuit is in a toggle form. It sets to reset state and vice versa. It keeps on setting and resetting continuously. When both the terminals are high, the J and K flip-flop acts as a P-type toggle flip-flop. When both J and K terminal are high, both the when clock pulse is also high, it acts as a toggle flip-flop. So here, students, the JK flip-flop has one drawback. Okay, the JK flip-flop has one drawback. The drawback is we call it as a race condition. So here you can see in the output what is happening. The Q is 0, Q bar is 1. Again, when Q becomes 1, Q bar becomes 0. When Q becomes 0, Q bar becomes 1. And there is a race in this Q and Q bar to change its states from 1 to 0 and 0 to 1. And that state we call it as a race around condition, and that state we call it as a race around condition. The condition of race arises if the Q output changes its states before the timing pulse of the clock pulse has gone to the off state. Okay, before the clock pulse changes. Okay, before the clock pulse changes, now it will be in the high state. But when it goes to the low state, okay, and then when it arises to the high state, before it moves on from high to low, okay, the output Q is changing. Okay, so because of that, we call this state or condition as a race condition. Okay, so what is to be done? The timing pulse period T should be kept as shorter as possible to avoid this problem. So the clock pulse timing should be kept as short as possible to avoid this problem. So how can we avoid this race condition that is occurring? Okay, the race condition, this is the race condition that is occurring in your JK flip-flop. Okay, so students, this condition is not possible always and can be improved with the master slave JK flip-flop. So with the modification in your JK flip-flop and designing a master slave JK flip-flop, we can eliminate this problem of racing. So this eliminates all the timing problems by using two SR flip-flops connected in series. So how do we design this master slave JK flip-flop? This master slave JK flip-flop can be connected and designed using two SR flip-flop which are connected in series. So one is for the master and another SR flip-flop is called as a slave. So the master circuit is going to trigger on the leading edge of the clock pulse, and the slave is which is acting which will trigger on the clock pulse on the falling edge of the clock pulse. Okay, so on the positive edge of the clock pulse, the master is going to be active and going to perform the necessary operation. On the trailing edge of the clock pulse, the slave is going to be active. And to design this master slave, we require two SR flip-flops. One acts as a master and the second SR flip-flop acts as a slave. So these master slave flip-flops work on two different timing signals. One acts on the positive edge trailing of the clock pulse, and the second acts on the negative trailing edge of the clock pulse. So during this period, we have the master performing its operation, and during the trailing edge, we have the slave performing its necessary operation. So to overcome this drawback of trace around condition that has occurred, and to provide the necessary timing signal in switching the output, we have this design of your master slave JK flip-flop. Okay, so we have the master slave JK flip-flop now. Now what exactly is master slave JK flip-flop? So the master slave flip-flop is basically two gated SR flip-flops. We have two SR flip-flops connected together in a series configuration, with the slave having an inverted clock pulse. The slave will be working on a negative clock pulse, okay, or an inverted clock pulse, whereas the master will be performing on the positive clock pulse. The output from Q and Q bar from the slave flip-flop are fed. Q and Q bar from the slave flip-flop are fed back to the inputs to the master. Okay, with the output of the master flip-flop being connected to the two inputs of the slave flip-flop. Okay, so this feedback configuration from the slave's output, the master input gives the characteristics toggle to the JK flip-flop as shown here. So here we have the circuit diagram of your master slave JK flip-flop. So here you can see we have two SR flip-flops being used. One is acting as a master. The first one is acting as a master, okay, which works on a positive edge of the clock pulse, and the second one is acting, the second SR flip-flop is acting as a slave, which works on the negative trailing edge of the clock pulse. So here you can find that we have the output Q bar of the slave fed as an input to the master, and then the output Q is fed back as an input to K. Okay, so we have these inputs coming. Okay, now students, you can see here that we have an additional NOT gate being used. So this NOT gate, what will happen when we have a positive clock pulse coming here? When it comes here, it will be converted into 0, and later what will happen at a given point of time, either of the one flip-flop will be active. During the positive edge of the clock pulse, the master will be active and the outputs will be available on the output line. Then when the master is falling on the negative clock pulse, that is when the clock pulse changes from high to low, when the clock clock pulse is 0, at that time what happens? The slave is going to be active. And then what will happen? These inputs, whatever the output that we had from the master, are acting as an input to the slave. Okay, are acting as an input to the slave. Okay, so because of this delay in capturing the input and processing the output, we try to avoid the race condition. And at a given point of time, for a time period t, we know what is the value of q and what is the value of q bar. Okay, so here normally how the operation of this master slave flip-flop works, just I will explain it. Okay, now students, what happens is that initially when we give the inputs, okay, now when we give the positive edge of the clock pulse, positive edge of the clock pulse, whatever input might be, j might be 1 and k might be 0, and initially we take q value as 0 and q bar as 1. So what will happen, this q value goes here, okay, this value goes here, and we have a positive clock pulse, that means 1 we have here, and as q bar is having 1, this input goes here. So here we have the input coming from q bar, and here we have the input coming from q. Okay, so here you can see the upper NAND gate has all the 3 inputs high. Okay, all the 3 inputs high, the output is going to be low. As the lower NAND gate has 2 inputs low and only the clock pulse is high, the output is going to be high. Okay, so initially we have assumed the value of q as 0 and q bar as 1. We can assume any value of q and q bar. So here what happens, this 1 is coming here, okay, and this 0 is coming here. So what will happen, 0 1, okay, the output is what, okay, so here when we have 0 1, here we will be having a 1, okay, and 1 0, here also we will be having a 1. So this circuit will be active initially, whenever the clock pulse is high, this clock pulse is high. Now when the clock pulse falls down, when the clock pulse falls down here, what will happen, when the clock pulse is falling down, then on the next clock pulse, okay, the value of the clock becomes 0, and this 0 is traveling here, and when the clock pulse is falling down, you know that there will be no operation happening. So this clock pulse will be, this SR flip-flop, that is the master, will be inactive, whereas now the slave will be active. Why the slave will be active? Why? Because now we have a negative clock pulse and a 0 coming, and the NOT gate will convert a 0 into 1, and this 1 is coming now, and because of that what will happen, this 1 and whatever output that we have received from the master will be adding as an input to the slave, and now the slave starts performing the necessary operation, and we get the values at q and q bar. So it may be 0 1 or 1 0, and after the, once again when the clock pulse is over and when the clock pulse changes from low to high, at that time what will happen, the master will be active and then the slave becomes inactive, and then the master will perform the necessary operation, and on the next clock pulse again, when the output are available on the other end of the NAND gate, okay, the slave will be active and will copy the output that is available from the master. So here you can see that because of the timing delays that we have able to create between the switching of inputs from one point to another, we call it as a master and slave. So here what is happening, master is initially active and producing the necessary output, and later on the next trailing edge of the clock pulse, the slave is becoming active and it is capturing the data that is available at the master, and the master is driving as an input to the slave. So always slaves tries to capture the necessary inputs from the master, and that's what the name we have the master, and that's what the name we have the master and slave. Okay, this is what the truth table what we have for master and slave, but here we have the necessary timing delay, because of which we can easily find what is the value of q and q bar for a particular time period. So the input signals J and K are connected to the gated master's flip-flop, okay, which locks the input condition while the clock input is high at logic level 1. As the clock input of the slave is inverse, that is complement, the master clock input, the slave flip-flop does not toggle. Why? Because the flip-flop is not going to perform any sort of operation, because it is receiving a negative clock pulse, and because of which the flip-flop will never toggle at a given point of time. So the output that is coming from the master are only seen by the gated slaves when the clock input goes low or at logic level 0. So when the clock pulse goes low, whatever output that is available at the output of the master, okay, that will get copied to the slave, when the clock pulse is becoming high. At that time the master is inactive and the slave will be active. Okay, so when the clock is low, when the clock pulse is going low, okay, the output from the master, this is what it is, the output from the master is latched, and there will be no any additional changes that will be happening, okay, at the input. So any changes that happens in the input, it will not have any impact on the output. Why? Because of the negative clock pulse, this circuit is not going to perform any operation, okay, okay. So the gated slave flip-flop now responds to the state of the inputs passed over by the master. So now as this slave has become active, whatever output the master has, it will capture it and it will perform the necessary operation. So this is how we try to avoid the toggle condition in terms of your master slave flip-flop. So whenever we have a high to low transition of the clock pulse, so the master flip-flop are feeding the input to the slave, and whenever we have a high to low transition, the same inputs are reflected on the output of the slave, making this flip-flop an edge or pulse triggered flip-flop. Okay, so then the circuit accepts the input when the clock signal is high and passes the data on the output of the falling edge of the clock signal. In other words, master slave JK flip-flop is a synchronous device, as it only passes the data with the timing of the clock signal. So this is how students, your master slave JK flip-flop performs its necessary operation. Okay, so